Hello everyone, welcome to this yoga and Pilates fusion class. We're going to start off just in our child's pose position today, so I just want you to come to the bottom end of your mat. Just open the knees up, bring the big toes together, sit back over those heels and slide your hands forwards and just rest the forehead down to the mat. And then from here I want you just to take some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out either through the mouth or through the nose. In Pilates we tend to breathe out through the mouth, in yoga it's often through the nose, but I will leave that entirely up to you as we move through this class, as we fuse the two styles of exercise together. But just focus on your breath. Forget about everything else that's going on. Just take a moment to breathe. Breathe to the upper back here. Visualize that air coming in. And keep your weight back over your heels. Really feel the stretch through the glutes, through the lower back, maybe into those thighs as well. And then just lifting the head, bringing the knees a little closer together, hands under the shoulders. We find this tabletop position now. And I want you just to take a gentle rock of the hips forwards, lengthen through the spine and look forwards. And then we reverse that. We took the tailbone under, pull the stomach muscles in, chin into the chest and look towards your knees. And let's just slowly move between these two positions. In breath to one of those positions, out breath to the other. Just mobilizing this spine as we do this, preparing for the movements ahead. Let's do one more to each position here. And then we find the halfway point between the two. This gives us our neutral spine, that natural curve in the back. I want you to keep your left hand down. I want you to lift your right hand and look towards the palm of this hand and thread that hand and arm through the gap between the left hand and the left knee. And then just lower the head down, the ear goes to the floor. Look towards this right hand. A little bit of resistance into the left hand. And then I want you to push into that left hand, pull this right arm out, and then open up through the body. Hold in here. Taking a good deep breath. And then bringing that hand slowly and gently down to the mat. We're going to do the same with the left hand now, so look towards that palm of the hand, thread the needle through, rest the left ear and side of the head down to the floor. Take a breath here. And on your next out breath, let's pull this arm out and open up. Find some rotation through this torso. Again, a big deep breath. And then bring it down back into our tabletop position. I just then want you to tuck the toes underneath, make sure the knees are about hip width, and just walk your hands to your knees now and see if we can just take the weight to the feet here, feeling a stretch through the soles of the feet. If this feels a little bit too much, lift your weight out. If you can, hold it here, take a breath or two. And then bring your hands back to the floor, slide them forwards, grip into those fingertips and now lift those knees and send your sit bones high up towards the sky. And let's have a little pedal out on these legs as we find our first downward facing dog of the session. And we're looking for the bum to be nice and high into the air here. A little bend on these legs is fine. But I want length through the spine, and just let this head hang heavy. And we're then going to just still those legs. See if we can lift those hips a little higher. Bring the chest a little closer towards the thighs, and we breathe. And then I just want you to tippy-toe these feet in towards the hands. Lift onto the fingertips, walk those hands underneath the chest, and hold here just for a moment. And then I want you to roll this spine up. So we're going to restack this spine slowly, stomach muscles tight, and bring yourself gradually up into a nice tall standing position. Let's turn the palms forwards. So we're at the top end of our mat now. And we're going to take some really good deep breaths here. We connect our feet to the mat. From here we're going to do a little bit of a sun salutation flow. So we're going to bring the chin gently into the chest. We're going to allow these hips to hinge forwards, and then let's take the hands all the way down to the feet. Slight bend on these legs is fine here. Just let the head hang heavy. Taking some good deep breaths. We're going to do a really slow flow through this sun salutation. And then we're going to do it 2 times through after that, but a little bit faster. So sliding the hands up the shins now, just to the bottom of the kneecap. As we do that, see if we can just hinge the hips that little bit further forwards, lengthen through the spine, and just look slightly forwards and down to our half fold. Slowly lowering the hands all the way down to the floor now. Bend those legs a little bit more if you need to. We're going to take the right foot all the way back, take the left foot all the way back, and see if we can find a plank, making sure we're not dropping the hips too low, or that we don't have the bum too high. We find that nice middle ground here, and we breathe, and we push the heels away. Don't forget, if that feels too much, we lower the knees down. Now we're going to move into our first chaturanga, which is to lower the chest between those hands. So you might want to, for this first one, lower the knees down, or if this feels right for you as we go through, lower the knees down each time. Elbows pull in, and then we lower the chest all the way down to the floor. Flatten off those feet. Maybe just slide the hands back a little bit. Elbows pull in, and then we're just going to lift the chest, slight bit of resistance into those arms as we push the hands into the floor, but make sure most of this work is being done through those back muscles. A little tension to the stomach, into those glutes, and then we lower slowly down to the mat. We're then going to tuck the toes underneath, lift the hips, push into your hands, and take your weight all the way back into our downward facing dog. And then lifting the right foot just off the floor. See if this time we can take a big stride through, then with the left foot, bringing us into our forward fold once more. Half fold now, sliding these hands up the shins to the bottom part of the knees, spine length to that spine. Nice tabletop position with the back. And then hands all the way down. So I bend on those legs. This time we're going to take the hands away, take them wide, and take them all the way up as we stand tall to our mountain pose. Engage through the stomach muscles. Connect those feet to the mat. And pause here in a lovely strong position. So we're going to flow through that 2 more times, really to warm this body up. So So let's take these arms wide now. Let's hinge through the hips and let's forward fold all the way back down to the floor. Slightly faster this time, so let's slide the hands up to the knees. Find our half fold. Slide back down, hands to the floor. On your exhale, push back with the right foot, push back with the left foot. Pause just for a moment and then float down. And then we lift. Maybe we lift a little bit higher now. Keep connecting these moves to our breath. In breath down, out breath as we send our weight back. Out breath as we step forward with the right foot and then the left. Exhale, slide those hands up to our half fold. Exhale, take it all the way back down. Exhale, let's bring it all the way up to the top. Hands above the head, strong through the body. And breathe. Let's do that one more time. So exhale, our arms go wide, we forward fold down. And then slide those hands up the shins to the knees. Out breath as we take those hands down. Step back with the left foot, step back with the right foot. Find our plank position, chaturanga down, remember knees if you need to. And then lift that chest slowly and gently to our cobra. Lowering down on the in-breath, out-breath as we send our weight back into our downward facing dog. And then lifting this left foot, big stride forwards, right foot steps in, back into our forward fold. Taking those hands up the shins to the knees. Find length in that spine. And then all the way back down. Nice big deep breath in here. As we breathe out, we lift, we stand tall into our mountain pose. And then let's just bring the hands together and bring them down through heart center. Take a moment to breathe there. Good. So from here we're going to stay right at the top end of our mat. I want you to keep your right foot connected to the mat. With your left foot we're going to take it back, nice long way back, and that foot is going to be 45 degrees. Make sure they're not too narrow, those feet. So this front leg is bent, knees pointing all the way down to the front end of your mat. We're then going to bring these hands up above the head. So with this back hip, just turn slightly and bring these hands up above your head into our warrior one now. Grounding those feet into the mat whilst staying nice and active through the rest of the body. We're then going to turn to the left, so right arm in front, left arm behind into our warrior two. Look down that middle finger of that front hand and be strong here. This is our warrior pose, warrior two. Then bringing this front arm just onto your thigh. This other arm comes all the way over, reach it forwards. Stay open through the body. If this feels good, you might want to take that other hand away. Imagine you're holding onto this beach ball here. Be active and breathe, pausing for a moment in each position so we can really find our breath. And we're going to lift these hands to the top. Let that back hand come to the back thigh. Top hand, palm towards you. Look towards it, and it's just over that right shoulder. Into our reverse warrior. And then we're going to windmill this back hand all the way over. Lift that back heel, both hands, frame this right foot now, slide back, find plank. Float down again, chaturanga. Find our cobra. Tuck the toes under, and then let's lift all the way back. Into our downward facing dog. We're going to bring this left foot through, right foot steps through up to it. We're back to our forward fold. Sliding those hands up the shins to find our half fold. Floating all the way back down. Hands to the floor. And on your out breath, take these arms wide, let them come all the way up above your head, back into our Mountain pose, connect those feet to the mat. Bring these hands down to your heart center and pause for a moment there. Good, good. So this time we're going to take the right foot back. The right foot goes to that like 45-degree angle. These hips are square to the front edge of the mat. And again, we take those hands up above the head, finding our warrior one. Grounding our feet into the mat. Stay nice and active through the shoulders, through the midsection, through those legs. This time turning the body to the right, left arm in front, right arm behind, sink in. Shoulders pull back. Be strong through these arms, just as you're strong through your legs. Keep bringing it back to your breath. And then this forearm to the thigh, this other arm comes all the way over, so that bicep comes towards the ear. Make sure we're still nicely open through the body. Option to take that hand away. Hold it onto that beach ball. And then slowly push into that left foot, lift that beach ball up above your head, let go of it, right hand to the thigh, left hand up above the head, look towards the palm of that left hand. Don't forget we're still bending this front leg. And then this back hand lifts, we lift that back heel, rotate, hands to the floor, slide that foot back, find that plank. Chaturanga down, remember knees if you need to. Flatten those feet and find cobra, maybe bringing those arms almost straight now. Tucking those toes underneath, lifting the hips, sending that weight back. And then lifting that right foot, big stride, left foot steps in, we're back to our forward fold. Sliding the hands up, those shins to the knees, find length in this spine here. And then we float all the way back down. Big deep breath in, and as we breathe out, arms wide, stand tall, find mountain pose. Bring those hands together and then just float them down to heart center. Good work. Now from here, we are going to do a little bit of balance work. So we're going to think about lifting one foot away from the mat. So really grounding that other foot into the mat. We spread the toes of the chosen foot, which is staying down on the floor. We're then going to lift this other foot, and you can either bring that foot in to the side of the shin, or you can bring it higher up, more into the thigh. If you need your hands just to help you bring that into place, you can do. Just whatever feels good, but try not to push too much into your kneecap. Just find a position that feels right for you, so you can bring your hands back to your prayer position and then focus on a point. Don't worry if that knee's not too open, it's not a problem, it's just taking it to the level that feels right for you. And then we breathe here. And if you feel this is okay, maybe we take the hands above the head and take them a little wider. Keep breathing, make sure you're not holding your breath here. Take one more breath. Bring these hands together over the head and then down through heart center. And then just very gently lower that foot down and just give that leg a little shake out. Excellent. So we're going to do the same to the other side now. So let's spread the toes of the other foot that's staying down on the floor. Let's just take the weight out of the foot that's lifting first of all, find a little bit of balance. And slide this foot in and up to wherever feels right for you. Observing that knee, making sure we're not putting too much strain into the kneecap. Find balance. Find focus. Find your breath. take those hands up above the head and out wide. It's looking good, guys. Breathing. Take 2 more breaths here if you can. Bring these hands together, bring them down through heart center. Connecting those toes to the mat as we take 1 more breath here. We're doing great. And then slowly slide that leg down there. And then just give those legs just a little shake out. Fantastic. Good, so let's just, from here, just take a forward fold. Bend the legs a little bit more and kneel yourself down on the mat. And then we can scoot round, find a seat in the middle of your mat and take those legs out straight. We're going to move a little bit more into some Pilates work now. So we're going to take our arms over the legs. We're bringing the chin into the chest and we're creating this C curve on the spine. So pull the stomach muscles in, rock the hips back, but reach forwards with those hands. This gives us that curvature to the upper spine. And then I want you just to take a gentle forward fold, find the stretch into your hamstrings here. And just hold it. Breathe. Maybe feel the tension releasing as the muscles realise that they're not in danger. And then let's keep this C curve on as we start to roll this lower spine back down into the mat. Lowering about halfway, keep those feet anchored to the floor, engage, pull yourself up, and then take a little 1-2 bounce at that point of resistance, ready to go again. So in breath as we roll down, out breath as we come back up. And if this feels good, maybe you want to start going a little bit further down. Maybe shoulder blades touch down. Make sure though you can come back up with control. And if that felt good and you had control, we go head down, hands down, and that return phase again, pulling the stomach muscles in, engaging that core, and back there. Let's get a couple more of these in. And as we engage that core, let's think about the stomach muscles being tight, glutes being tight, and that internal connection into those pelvic floor muscles, that internal zip up. A little internal squeeze, almost as if we need a wheel and we're stopping ourselves from going. So the final time here, we're going to roll ourselves all the way down, piece by piece, and take a nice full body stretch there. Just take a moment just to adjust yourself and get into the right position, and we're ready for our next exercise. So I want you to think about this neutral spine, this natural curve through the lower back now. So make sure there's no big gap underneath that lower back. If there is, gently rock the hips back a touch more. Let's engage into this core. Bring these hands over the top. As we do that, we bring the left knee in, we reach forward, we squeeze into those stomach muscles, and then roll all the way back out. Ready to do the same to the other side. So exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Just changing over, finding that tension into the stomach. Remember, stomach muscles, glutes, pelvic floor muscles, all engaged. And if this feels good, and you want to make this a little more challenging, peel the spine away some more. Bring yourself up into this seated position. Chest and thigh come together, and then roll back down with lots of control. Keep this going for me. Be active through this core. And we're going to do a couple more of these to each side if we can. And once we've done our final one, let's go to a nice full body stretch there. Really lengthen out as much as you can. Find that stretch. Feel those stomach muscles just releasing a little bit. Now from here we're going to take our arms nice and wide. We're then going to bend the legs, make sure we find neutral spine, then lift our feet into the air so our knees are directly above our hips. We're going to do some rotation here, so let's see if we can get this 90-degree angle on the knees. If you are struggling though, you can bring the heels towards the bum or even feet to the floor if you're really struggling. We're then going to start to make a very small move over from side to side. So it's out breath as those legs move across, in breath as we come back to centre. And if you feel good with that small move and you feel in control and you can keep that opposite shoulder down on the mat, we start to increase that range of movement. Out breath across, in breath centre, out breath to that other side. Stay active through the core. And for those of you who want an extra little challenge, as we bring these legs back to centre, we bring the head and the knees together, we reach forward, we squeeze the stomach muscles into this ball position, we reset, and then we take legs over to the other side. So exhale across, inhale to centre, exhale lift, inhale reset, and then exhale over to that other side. Just an option that if you prefer, keep going side to side. Let's just do one more to each side now. So whatever level feels right for you. Hopefully starting to feel a little heat building in these stomach muscles now. Once you've done your last one there, just release for a moment. Release the tension. Take a couple of rest breaths there. And we move on to our next exercise, our single leg stretch. So let's engage into this core again. Remember, still neutral spine. We're going to bring the left knee into the body, both hands to the shin of this left leg. We're then going to lift the right leg and extend it out fairly high into the air. We're then bringing the head towards this knee, squeeze the stomach muscles, and let's just slowly change these legs over. So in breath as one knee comes in, out breath as your other knee comes in. Find the tension. And if you want to make this harder, we take the hands off the shin and place them lightly to the side of the knee. We can go low with the extending legs as well if you fancy really challenging through the lower part of the core. We can also bring hands to the side of the head. And the final option is moving this to crisscross, elbow to opposite knee. So go with a level that feels right for you. Stay with this if you can. 2 more extensions to each leg. And once we've done our final one, feet go to the floor. Again, we release just for a moment. And then bringing the hands down by our sides now. We're going to lift these feet into the air. And we make sure again we're neutral and we've got tension into our core. First thing we can do here is bring these knees into the body, lifting the bum, peeling a little bit that lower spine away. Push into your hands if it helps. Then we sit down and then we push both legs out straight, nice and high into the air. In breath in, out breath as we push away. Remember again, the lower we go with these legs, the harder this gets. And if you want an extra challenge, as we bring these knees in, push into your hands and arms, extend those legs. Don't go too low with the legs though. Then we bend, then we lower in, roll the spine down and push back out. Pause, bend, lift, roll down with control and out there. So find a level that feels good for you. It can be small moves if you need it to be. Make sure you're feeling in control of these stomach muscles all the time. 2 more if you can. And once you've done your final one, let's go to the floor with the feet, straighten those legs out, hands above the head, and take a nice full body stretch. So we're now going to roll over onto your side. Do a little more work into these glutes. So let's stretch ourselves out. You can have the lower arm straight for this one. Rest the head into the hand. Pull those feet in line. Top hand in front of you. Let's connect through this core. And with this top leg, I want you to keep it straight and just slightly lifted to begin with. We're then going to kick this leg forwards, lift it up, bring it slightly behind the lower leg, and sweep it all the way back round. So in breath on the first half of the movement, out breath on the second half. Just opening up through the hips, squeezing into those glutes. And just creating as big a range of movement as feels right for you. Don't overdo this or your body will start to move. We're going to do 2 more circles in this direction. Then we're going to just pause, see if you can stay slightly lifted. And then we do 2 circles or more circles in the other direction. So we lift up and sweep it round. Finding that resistance into those glutes. Just in the opposite direction, just work slightly different muscles as we do that. Well, that's 2 or 3 of these if we can. And then once we've done that final one, we're going to bring that knee all the way down there. You can just rest that lower arm, rest the head onto that arm. Take a moment there. And then stretch both legs out, working into these double leg lifts now. So pull these feet back in line, engage into this core. Top hand in front, lower arm straight, slightly forward of the body. And then let's lift both legs just a few inches into the air before we lower. We're looking for a little bit of resistance into this waist area. And we're looking for a big stretch through the lower body. So this is not about how high you lift these legs. It's about finding that stretch. And if this feels good, maybe your hand comes onto your thigh. And if that feels okay, you might want to lift the head, lift the armpits, slide the fingertips towards the side of the knee, pause for a moment there, and then lower back down. Exhale, lift and stretch. Inhale, lower back down. Let's go for 2 more. And then final time here, big stretch out. And then we lower the legs down, hand in front. Let's bend both legs this time. Taking a moment. Good. And slowly pushing up to a seated position now. A little more seated work, we'll come back to the side in a moment. So I want you to take those legs out fairly straight for me. And then I want you to think posture. So rather than being slouched over, let's lift through the spine, through the shoulders, through the top of the head. Shoulders come back. And then we're taking these arms over the thighs. And now I want you to stay with some length in this spine. So we're not C-curving as we did earlier. See if we can just let the chest come over the thighs. Find your stretch. Pause for a moment. Spine is still long. And let's keep this spine long as we bring these hands up above your head. Find posture. Hold strength into those core muscles. Hinge through the hips and bring this chest forwards. Find the stretch through the lower back and hamstrings. Pause. And then lift. So let's lift on a in breath, come all the way up to the top. Fill the rib cage and then out breath. As we fold forward, let's do 2 more of those. Lift to the top on the in breath, shoulders back, spine long. Final time. Pause here for me and exhale. And bring the hands to the shins, chin into the chest. We can create a little C curve there now, just a little release of tension. We're then going to go over onto your other side. So let's bring the other leg on top. We can rest the head into the hand on this one if you wish. Pull these legs back in line. Hand in front. We have these leg circles to do. So lifting this top leg, we're kicking the leg forward, bringing it up and over slightly behind that lower leg and sweep it round there. In breath on that first half of the movement. Out breath on the second half of the movement. Again, just creating as big a range that feels right for you, and it might feel a little different on this side, which is fine, which is normal. Stay engaged through that core. Let's get a couple more of these circles, and in this direction, remember we are reversing the direction once we've done this final one. Bring the leg almost lowering down, but just off, and then we take the leg back, lift up, over the top and round. Seeing how that feels to reverse the movement. Just breathing with the movement. Just a couple more of these circles to do on this side, and then we're going to rest that knee down. So knee down to the mat. We're going to straighten out this lower arm, rest the head onto that forearm. Just take a moment to release the tension there. And we're then going to straighten both legs out, pull those feet back in line. Option to have this hand in front or onto your thigh. And then lift both legs just a few inches away from the mat. Focus on the stretch. Imagine you're trying to touch the wall to the side of you there. Option 2. Putting that hand onto the thigh to reduce your stability. And then that final option of lifting the head, lifting that armpit and rib cage, sliding, just squeezing into the waist before we lower down. Find those waist muscles. Let's just do 2 more here. And then once you've done your final one, hand in front, bring both knees in and just release all of the tension from that hip and glute area. Looking good. Take a few nice breaths. And then we're going to spin over onto your stomach now, so just find the middle of your mat. Have a lie down onto your stomach, time to do a little bit of back work. Bringing these hands round, so we're resting the chin onto the fingers. Relaxing the feet down to the floor. Let's engage to that core again. Remember, belly button to spine, that gentle squeeze of the glutes, that internal connection to those pelvic floor muscles. And now we're going to lift the head, lift the chest, and just find some resistance there as we find a little lift, and then we lower back down. Exhale as we lift. Inhale as we lower. Find that resistance in the lower back. If you want to make it more challenging, we let the hands and arms lift to give us more resistance. And then an option to open up these hands at the top, squeeze into the shoulder blades, find some resistance in the middle back now, and then hands back together and lowering back down. So your choice of levels, find the one that feels right for your back strength. Let's keep the feet on the floor, let's stay controlled through the body. And let's see if we can get 2 or 3 more of these in. And once we've done our final one there, we're releasing, we're just taking a moment to breathe. And then stretching those legs out. This time we're going to relax the upper body down, so keep the head on the hands. Let's stretch the legs out, feet about hip width, And we're either going to lift one leg at a time away here, keeping those hips in contact with the mat, or we lift both legs at the same time. Big stretch. It's not about how high we lift these legs. We're finding resistance and then stretching through that resistance, pulling those stomach muscles in tight all the time. Keep going there. Now if you want a third option on this one, as we get to the top, we very gently open up those feet to about shoulder width, then squeeze the legs back together and then lower back down. So exhale, lift and open up. In breath as the feet come together and we lower back down there. So let's just see if we can find 3 or 4 more of those. Once we've done our final one, just going to release the tension. Let it all melt away. And then just lifting the chest, bringing the forearms under the body, elbows tuck under, head over the hands, engage into the core, lift those hips, and we're going to find a plank position here, either 3/4 plank, tuck the toes underneath, push the heels away, find full plank. And be strong here as we breathe. Hold the tension into that core. Remember, knees down if you need to. Take 3 or 4 more good deep breaths in and out if you can. And then very gently lowering the knees down, pushing into these hands, just opening up the knees, big toes together, sit back, rest the head down. And just pause here as we breathe into our child's pose position. Hold in there for me. So from here we're just going to slide the hands towards the knees, just bring the knees a little closer. And then we're going to bring ourselves up to this high kneeling position. Then we're just going to take a step forward with the right foot, big stride forward with the hips square to the front edge of the mat, hands onto the thigh, just sink in here. And just feel this stretch into the hip area. Take some nice deep breath. We're then going to bring the left hand to the floor, right arm reaches forward, find rotation, fingertips up towards the ceiling. And if you want to here, tuck the toes under, lift that back knee and find this rotation. Push that heel away if you're choosing that option. If that feels too much, knee down is fine. Bringing the hand down. Push it into that right foot, step it back. Find high kneeling, bring the left foot through, big stride forward, square those hips off, sink in. Find a little posture and breathe. Right hand goes to the floor now, left arm reaches forward, find the rotation. Option to lift that back knee if you wish. Knee down, hand down. Let's step back with this foot. As we do that, right hand to the floor, sit yourself down and then just leave these feet through. So we can have a lie down onto our backs. And once we're here, I want you to bend both legs, find neutral, find that little bit of tension into our core. And then we're going to lift this right foot and hook that right ankle onto the left knee and just open up there. An option here just to push this right knee away to give us a little gentle stretch into the glutes, or we bring this hand through the gap, lift this left foot, take hold of the hamstring, and we find this pigeon pose, this reclined pigeon pose option. Breathing deeply, just to send the signals to the body to relax and not to resist. Gently we release that foot to the floor, unhook that ankle, and then let's lift the left foot. Hook that left ankle on, open up. Option to push the knee away or lift that right foot and find that reclined pigeon pose. Gently we release there. Both feet come down to the floor. Take a moment, reset, and take those arms out nice and wide. And then we're going to allow the body to stay in place as we let those legs lower over to the left side. So that right shoulder stays down on the mat. Option to bring this right knee over and maybe use this left hand to very gently, be careful doing it, just weigh the leg down. And breathe. Very gently, still muscles tight as we bring these legs back to centre. Find the middle of your mat and then take the legs over to the right side. Keep that left shoulder down. Again, option to bring the knee over if you need to. And hold it there. Slowly bring the legs back to centre. Find the middle of the mat and then bring those knees into the body. Bring the head and knees together. Give these legs a nice hug. And maybe a little bit of movement if it feels good for you, up and down or side to side or round and round, just whatever feels nice. And then we rest the head down. We lower the feet to the floor. If it feels comfortable for you, take those legs straight. And then take your arms out just away from your body. I want you to find a comfortable position to lie in. A position where you can just release all of the tension from this class. Any areas where you felt were working, send a little bit of awareness and attention to those muscles and just let those muscles release. Let that tension just melt away into the mat. And also think about these few minutes ahead as time to relax the mind as well as relaxing the body. So send any other thoughts away. You can come back to those later. Keep that mind as blank as possible. And if it helps, just focus on your breath. Visualizing that breath coming into the body through the nostrils, filling the body, and then breathing out through the nose now. And each out breath, we sink a little deeper into relaxation. Just start to bring a little bit more awareness back to our bodies now with some wiggles of the fingers and the toes. A bit of roll of the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, just wait to roll yourself over onto one side. Take a moment there, no rush. When you feel ready, use those hands and arms to bring yourself up to a seated position. And once you're there, let's just close down the eyes just for the last few seconds. And think about our breath now. So I want you to breathe in for a count of 4. I want you to hold that breath in, pause for a count of 4, and then breathe out for a count of 4. Pause at that point again for 4. Ready to take your breath in again for 4. I want you to continue breathing in, pausing, breathing out, pausing, all for 4s if you can. Visualize in your mind a square. So as we breathe in, we take the line up to the top. As we pause, we move the line across. As we breathe out, we move the line down. And as we pause, we move the line across, ready to start again. Let's make 2 more squares in our mind with our breath. Once you've done that, let's take a big deep breath in through the nose and sigh out through the mouth. Good, one more cleansing breath to finish. Deep breath in and sigh out. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. Well done.